NACA Realtor Webinar Explained, Helping Realtors Understand the NACA Process. Section 1, Intro, What Realtors are being taught about NACA. Welcome back, everyone, to Will_NACA Journey CA. Before we begin, I want to remind everyone that I am not affiliated with, employed by, or representing NACA in any way. I am simply documenting my personal journey through the NACA home buying process here in California and sharing what I learned along the way. Also, if it sounds like I'm reading from a script, that's intentional. I want the information I share to be as accurate, organized, and clear as possible so that anyone following along can easily understand the topics we're discussing. Most NACA members never get the opportunity to see what realtors are being taught behind the scenes. Recently, I attended a NACA Realtor Webinar, and today I'm going to walk through some of the key information presented during that session. Although this webinar was designed for realtors, I believe many buyers can benefit from understanding the same information. When buyers understand how realtors are expected to navigate the NACA process, it can help reduce confusion, improve communication, and create more realistic expectations throughout the home buying process. One thing that became clear during the webinar is that NACA transactions often operate differently than traditional mortgage transactions. Because of those differences, realtors need to understand NACA's procedures, timelines, documentation requirements, property approval processes, affordability calculations, and member responsibilities in order to successfully guide clients through the program. One observation I had after attending multiple NACA webinars is that realtors who take the time to understand the broader NACA process may be better positioned to serve their clients throughout the home buying journey. Many of the topics discussed during the Realtor webinar, such as qualification, hand, rehab escrow, property approvals, timelines, and member responsibilities, are the same topics regularly discussed in member webinars. While realtors are not NACA counselors and should never replace NACA staff, a solid understanding of the process can help improve communication, reduce misunderstandings, and set more realistic expectations throughout the transaction. Buyers often look to realtors for guidance when questions arise. The more familiar a realtor is with the NACA process, the better equipped they may be to help clients understand requirements, navigate challenges, and move through the transaction with greater confidence. In many ways, a successful NACA transaction is a partnership between the buyer, the realtor, and the NACA team, with everyone working towards the same goal of achieving sustainable homeownership. The webinar is not a realtor certification program. NACA does not certify realtors. Instead, it provides education and guidance designed to help realtors better understand how the NACA process works and what may be required during different stages of the transaction. Another important point discussed during the webinar was the relationship between NACA and the lender. According to the presentation, NACA manages much of the counseling, qualification, underwriting preparation, and processing activities throughout the home buying journey, while the Bank of America serves as the participating lender for NACA mortgages. The webinar also highlighted how both realtors and NACA members have access to their own online portals. These portals allow participants to upload documents, complete tasks, track progress, communicate throughout the transaction, and manage various steps in the home buying process. In this video, we'll cover how realtors are trained to work with NACA buyers, the hand department and property approvals, contract requirements and buyer protections, how affordability and purchase limits are calculated, property eligibility and approval requirements, priority and non priority membership classifications, benefits, challenges, and realities realtors should understand. My goal is to explain what realtors are learning and how that information may help future NACA homebuyers better understand the process. So let's get started. Section 2, the hand department. One of the most important parts of the NACA program. One of the first major topics discussed during the webinar was NACA's Home and Neighborhood Development Department, commonly known as HAND. As many of you already know, HAND is one of the key reasons I chose NACA. Realtors were taught that HAND serves as NACA's property review and renovation support department. It helps identify property issues, guides members through property qualification requirements, and provides support for repair and renovation opportunities. According to the webinar, HAND assists with property qualification reviews, repair evaluations, renovation guidance, contractor resources, property condition assessments. The webinar emphasized that HAND allows members to consider homes that may need repairs while helping reduce the risk of unexpected financial burdens after closing. This is especially important in today's housing market, where many affordable opportunities may require some level of renovation. Realtors need to understand HAND because property condition issues can directly affect whether a home qualifies for financing. The webinar also highlighted additional HAND educational resources covering property qualification, repair escrow, rehab guidelines. For buyers considering foreclosures or homes needing repairs, HAND remains one of the most valuable components of the NACA program. Section 3, Purchase Contract Requirements, Protecting Buyers Throughout the Transaction. The Realtor webinar placed significant emphasis on purchase contract requirements. According to the presentation, NACA strongly encourages realtors to include specific protections within purchase agreements. These may include approved NACA settlement agent, property vacant at closing, condo or co-op approval when applicable, inspection contingencies, termite inspection contingencies, minimum inspection periods. The webinar also recommended financing, appraisal, and grant approval contingencies when appropriate. These provisions are designed to help protect buyers from unexpected problems that could arise before closing while reducing transaction risk throughout the process. The webinar stressed that buyers remain responsible for contract obligations, earnest money deposits, and potential losses if property contractual protections are not included. For realtors, understanding these requirements helps avoid preventable problems later in the transaction. Section 4, Property Specific Approval Letters and why NACA approval is different, more than a traditional pre-approval. One of the most unique aspects of the NACA process discussed during the webinar was the property-specific approval letter. Unlike many traditional lenders that issue broad pre-approval letters, NACA performs extensive underwriting before members begin shopping for homes. The process discussed in the webinar includes buyer representation agreement submission, property information uploaded through the portal, property-specific letter request form, counselor review when required. Once submitted, approval documentation becomes tied directly to a specific property. According to the presentation, these approval letters are often issued within approximately 24 hours after submission. The webinar emphasized that NACA approval differs from a traditional pre-approval because much of the financial review has already been completed. That review includes verification of income, assets, employment, credit, budgeting, and overall financial readiness. Because so much underwriting occurs before the home search begins, many realtors view NACA approval as a stronger indicator of buyer readiness than a traditional pre approval. This can help provide confidence to listing agents and sellers when evaluating offers from NACA buyers. Section 5, Determining Maximum Purchase Price. It's about payment, not purchase price. One of the most important concepts discussed in the webinar involved affordability. The presentation emphasized that NACA approval is based on monthly payments rather than purchase price. That distinction is critical. The monthly payment calculation includes principal, interest, property taxes, homeowners insurance, HOA fees when applicable. The webinar demonstrated how realtors and buyers can use the NACA mortgage calculator to estimate affordability. For example, a member approved for a $2,500 monthly housing payment may qualify for very different purchase prices depending on local property taxes, insurance costs, and HOA fees. Two homes with the same purchase price can produce very different affordability outcomes. The calculator helps realtors identify realistic property targets before offers are submitted. Section 6, Eligible Property Types. More flexibility than many people realize. Another topic covered during the webinar was property eligibility. According to the presentation, NACA supports a wide range of property types, including single-family homes, townhomes, condominiums, co-ops, manufactured housing, certain owner-occupied multifamily properties. Each property type has its own qualification requirements. Additional reviews may be required for condominium associations, co-ops, manufactured housing, and multifamily properties. The webinar explained that owner occupancy remains an important requirement for many of these property categories. This means buyers aren't limited to traditional single-family homes and may have additional options depending on their goals and eligibility. For buyers seeking flexibility, these options may create opportunities beyond traditional single-family homes. Section 7, Understanding Priority, Non-Priority, and Priority Areas. Why income and location matters. One of the more detailed portions of the webinar focused on income eligibility and purchase location. The presentation explained that NACA uses Area Median Income, commonly called AMI, along with Metropolitan Statistical Areas, or MSAs, when determining eligibility classifications. Put simply, NACA looks at both your household income and where you're purchasing a home. Generally speaking, members at or below 120% of area median income are considered low to moderate income members. Members above 120% of area median income are generally considered high income members. The webinar emphasized that this classification affects eligibility and certain program benefits. However, being classified as non priority does not prevent someone from purchasing a home through NACA. It simply affects how certain program benefits may apply. The webinar also explained that some communities qualify as priority areas. These designations are designed as census tract information and median family income data. According to the presentation, higher income members may receive enhanced benefits when purchasing within eligible priority areas. One important takeaway was that eligibility can change depending on where the home is located. For California buyers, this can be especially important because two communities located only a few miles apart may fall into different census tracts and produce different eligibility outcomes. Understanding both income classifications and location based rules helps realtors better guide clients during the home search process. Section 8 Other Eligibility Requirements, Additional Program Expectations. The webinar also covered several eligibility rules that many buyers may not realize exist within the program. According to the presentation, first-time home ownership is not required. Members cannot own another property at closing. Owner occupancy is required. The webinar also discussed participation requirements and ongoing compliance with NACA program guidelines. Additionally, presentation referenced a $25,000 security lien structure that may be forgiven over time according to program requirements. The webinar briefly referenced NACA's security lien, which is designed to support long-term owner occupancy and program compliance. As always, members should verify current requirements directly with NACA since program guidelines may change. Section 9 Benefits, Risks, and Realities. What realtors and buyers should know. As with any home buying program, there are both benefits and realities. Potential benefits: strong underwriting process, property specific approval letters, no first time home buyer requirement, broader property eligibility, below market financing opportunities, and department support, repair and renovation opportunities, clear affordability guidelines, potential challenges, additional documentation requirements, longer timelines compared to some traditional loans, property qualification requirements, contract requirements must be followed carefully, income and census tract calculations can be complex. Members must maintain qualification throughout the process. One message that appeared throughout the webinar was that successful NACA transactions require active participation from both the member and the realtor. Communication, responsiveness, organization, and maintaining qualification remains critical throughout the process. Whether you're a realtor or a buyer, understanding these realities early can help avoid surprises later in the process. The webinar made it clear that preparation and understanding are essential for a successful NACA transaction. Section 10. In closing, why this webinar matters. One thing I found interesting about this Realtor webinar is that it gives buyers a rare opportunity to see the NACA process from the realtor's perspective. For buyers, that knowledge can be valuable. Understanding how realtors view qualification, property approval, contract protections, affordability calculations, timelines, and transaction requirements can help reduce confusion and improve communication throughout the home buying process. Understanding how the process works behind the scenes can also help buyers become stronger participants in their own home buying journey. For realtors, I would strongly encourage attending a NACA Realtor Webinar if you plan on working with NACA buyers. The webinar provides valuable insight into NACA's procedures, expectations, timelines, property requirements, affordability calculations, contract considerations, and the overall transaction process. Having a clear understanding of how the program operates can help realtors better serve their clients and navigate the home buying process more effectively. As I continue documenting my NACA journey here in California, I'll continue sharing what I learned, what I experience, and what may help others better understand the path towards home ownership. Thank you for following along. Real process, real time, real results, and I'll see you in the next video. Disclaimer: this video is based solely on my personal understanding and review of materials presented during a NACA Realtor webinar and other publicly available information available at the time of recording. I am not affiliated with, employed by, or representing NACA in any way. I am not a mortgage lender, loan officer, realtor, attorney, financial advisor, housing counselor, or tax professional. Information presented in this video may reflect webinar content available at the time it was presented and may not reflect future program changes. Program guidelines, eligibility requirements, underwriting standards, property requirements, lender participation, approval procedures, interest rates, income calculations, priority area designations, and member obligations may change over time. Always verify current information directly with NACA and qualified professionals regarding your specific situation.